Hi everyone, it's Alex from Risk Academy. Today I wanted to talk about qualitative risk assessment or risk analysis techniques. And not just that I'm not a big fan and they should be used as less as physically possible and can only be used as a last resort, because usually there are much better quantitative tools that can do exactly the same job without any more significant, often less effort than a qualitative approach. I mean, that's a given. You've probably heard me talk about that already. I'm a big fan of quantifying whatever can be quantified, and the surprise, pretty much most of the things in our world and our life can. And there's more to that, by the way. It's not just that I like numbers. Is that it's the opposite. It's not that I like numbers that I want to get to numbers. It's that I dislike emotions and I want to get away from emotions. So the reason why I like quantitative risk analysis is not because numbers are perfect and they get a better picture. That's actually not quite true. The reason why I always try to get to numbers when I quantify risks is that I know emotions will always show unrealistic, untruthful picture. Humans have zero reliability when it comes to understanding, analyzing, discussing, and capturing uncertainty. Now, not because they're bad people, but because they're bad at basic concepts of probability, and our brain is physically not designed to process that information and present it in some sort of realistic, understandable kind of way, due to all the different cognitive biases, hidden agendas, greed, and all the other human standard factors. So this video is actually not about qualitative versus quantitative. I think I've made it pretty clear in everything I publish that I'm a big fan of quantitative. Wherever possible, people, risk managers, have an obligation to at least try something more scientific, more reliable than just interviews and likelihood consequence discussion type activities. This video is about something else. You can choose whatever you want. You can choose qualitative, you can choose quantitative. I'm yet to meet a person who has tried quantitative and came back to qualitative, saying that it actually produced better results, because obviously we know it doesn't. I have met thousands of risk managers who have never tried quantitative approach because they simply don't have any background, any competencies in statistics or corporate finance for that matter, and they just came up with dozens of excuses why quantitative techniques don't work. I mean, you can easily tell someone is an idiot if he says garbage in, garbage out. That's a dead giveaway. You can tell that this person has no comprehension of how quantitative risk analysis techniques are meant to be working. But anyway, sorry, this is all intro. Now, what I really wanted to talk about in this video is the moral obligation. And the moral obligation is very simple. You can choose whatever you want to do. You can choose qualitative, quantitative. It doesn't really matter. You have, however, a moral obligation to disclose any known limitations of the technique that you have selected. And this is very important. And it's actually, it's so important and so embarrassing that as people start using proper quantitative tools, it actually comes with part of the culture on when you use quantitative approach, like when you use Monte Carlo simulation. It's a given. It's part of the school of thought in corporate finance that you would disclose your assumptions, you would disclose your limitations, you would actually, in the appendix, you would actually list the factors that have been modeled and the factors that have been excluded from modeling for different purposes. So the decision maker, trying to use that information to inform himself about the risks he's taking, he will understand what risks he is taking and what risks he isn't taking, and whether more work is required to analyze risks. That's the kind of embarrassing thing, is that people who use sophisticated, properly scientific tools have an inbuilt culture of disclosing limitations. Interestingly, the people who use qualitative risk tools tools that produce significantly worse results, significantly less reliable results, don't do exactly the same. Then this is just blows my mind. So people who try and do a good job are honest about that this job is not good enough and it will never be good enough. But people who choose to knowingly do a shitty job, by the way, this is pretty obvious. If you choose to do a qualitative risk analysis, you will provide a suboptimal, if not ridiculously, completely missing the point results. There's no other way. Like, just because you have a better personality or you talk to people longer, it will not improve the results. You will get a shitty result. It will be always shitty. That's the nature of human brain. That's how, human mind works. So, fascinatingly, and again, this just blows my mind, people who choose to provide shitty results, they don't even make the effort to at least test different techniques or hypotheses. They never disclose the known limitations of qualitative risk approach. And there are many. And I've been sharing that research online for ages. I encourage you to read it. If you ever have to use a qualitative approach because you don't have time, because you can't be bothered, because you don't have competencies, or because there's simply no other way. For example, I had to deal a lot with private equity funds. And there are very few methodologies in the world that allow to quantify private equity fund risk profiles, which is disappointing, but the nature of the asset is such as that there's not enough reliable information. So a lot of assumptions have to be done, and at some stage you just think, oh, we might as well just use qualitative risk analysis, because quantitative is just a list of exclusions and assumptions, and it's probably not as very reliable either. And so I've used qualitative in my life, but whenever I did, I actually had a lot of text underneath saying all the limitations, all the known things that are bad about qualitative risk approach. And there's the research that I constantly mention for that, and it's called the risk of using risk matrices. Now Google that document, plus underneath this video there is a link to that research. If you ever going to use qualitative risk techniques, you must read this research. You must know by heart what the limitations are. You must be very honest about how shitty the result will be that you are provided. It's a given to me. I'm sure it's not a given to you, because most of the people that are watching this video will still argue and feel that no, I'm sure we can provide a heat map that will be truthful and honest and close, and if we consolidate and take averages, no. There's nothing you can do to make it reliable. There's absolutely nothing humanly possible. You can go and try that, and I'm looking forward for you to publish that research and write a book about it, but it's not going to happen. We already know that. And if you are willingly using it, you have a moral obligation to disclose what the limitations are. And hopefully, by having constantly to write 2 pages of caveats on every single risk profile and every single risk report that you do, hopefully that will encourage you to switch to other proper quantitative risk tools where you don't have to write 2 pages but only 2 paragraphs of limitations and known issues. Hopefully that video raised some thought in your mind. You didn't just blank that I've insulted your work and you feel angry about this video. Go beyond the anger. Deep inside you know what I'm saying is true. If you choose to use a shitty method, you have to be honest with yourself and with the decision makers that what you're bringing is not just suboptimal, it could actually be deceitful. And if you've done that, if you do put caveats on your risk analysis, your risk reports, then it's fine. Do it. If that's what your decision makers want, perfect. You don't have to force them to learn how to read distribution charts or tornado diagrams. But the reality is, and we all know that that's the reality, 99.9% of the risk managers who choose to use shitty tools have never told anyone just how unreliable and bad they are. And these are very bad risk managers.